Al McFarlane. I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to The Conversation with Al McFarlane. Today is Monday, the 26th of June. I'm glad to be here and glad to have you along. As you can see, it's a beautifully warm and sunny day here in Minneapolis. I'm operating off of the deck in back of my house, uh, enjoying the sun, enjoying it. Not going to be too hot today, so a perfect day to be outside. I hope it's wonderful wherever you are as well. As always, we want to deliver what we call robust conversations. And we want to, as always, invite you to support these conversations by becoming a subscriber. We are streaming on several digital platforms: YouTube for Black Press USA, YouTube for Insight News, and then we're also streaming on 3 Facebook platforms and LinkedIn and Twitter. Wherever you are, we want you to take a minute, either now or a little later, to go to YouTube, Insight News, and then, and click on subscribe. Be a subscriber. We want to grow our subscription base, and you are key to making that happen. So subscribe, share, and like as well. Well, let's also remind us to uh, be attentive to the fact that, that the protocols for COVID-19 are still important. You should know them. Our friends over at Minnesota Department of Health want us to always remind folks to be conscious, be aware, to follow the protocols, washing hands, and doing what it takes to prevent getting infected or infecting others. COVID is still around, and together we can make a difference in keeping ourselves, our families, our friends, our communities safe. Well, let's go to today's program. I've got Deanna and Karyn here, and I want to thank them for both being here, because they're doing exciting work in the world of art and in the world of community. Deanna, good to see you. First, I want to come on and talk about the work that you do as an artist, organizer, as a leader in community. How are you doing for so long?
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, number one, for inviting us onto the show. I'm extremely grateful. But yeah, so my name's Deneane Richburg, and I am the founder and artistic executive director of Brownbody. And Brownbody, we blend dance, theater, social justice practice, and figure skating. And we present professional artistic work both on and off of the ice. And in addition, of course, to our artistic work, we also have a very vibrant and growing and flourishing donation-based Learn to Skate program, which Karyn Wilson, who is also here, will talk more about. But Brownbody came to be because I grew up dancing and as a competitive figure skater here in the Twin Cities. When I was young, there was probably I think there were 3 other kind of more advanced Black figure skaters that were training and competing, and it remained us 3 for pretty much most of our competitive careers. And it was challenging. It was challenging to be engaged in a endeavor, in a sport that is all about critiquing and judging and assessing what one's physical self. And to be in that space as a young Black woman and doing my formative development under I say the quote unquote, the gaze, GAZE, of whiteness. And so once I finished competing, I had the great fortune of being able to receive a Horace J. Bond Fellowship with Penumbra Theater, and got to be in a really beautiful, nourishing Black space where I could see, these really nuanced and layered stories rooted in Blackness, shaped and created on stage. And I also had the really wonderful fortune of being able to work with Dipankar Mukherjee at Pangea Theater. And I also was able to study under Tony Pierce of Tony Pierce Sands of Two Dance. So all of these influences really kind of laid the foundation for me to want to really formally go and learn how to engage the body in visual storytelling. And I opted to go and get my MFA in dance and choreography at Temple University in Philadelphia, which led to the creation of Brownbody, where I blended dance, theater, the work of affirming the self as a Black woman, as Black people, and of course figure skating. So that was kind of the path, and we've been doing it. We are established informally in 2007. Received our 501c3 in 2013, and we've just been off and running since 2013. Oh, I am having a really difficult time hearing you.
Okay. What an amazing story to share several elements. Your story. Let's see. Several elements of your story, including, you mentioned a little bit your motivation and the excitement and where the passion comes from. Can you explain more about that as we go along? But I also want to start off by letting people know you've got an important event coming up, a fundraising activity. Let's say that first and make sure we say it several times during the course of the interview.
Thank you so much. Yes, we do. We have a screening of our most recent on ice artistic work called Tracing Sacred Steps and combo fundraiser coming up this Thursday, June 29th. We will have a cocktail hour beginning at 5:30, and then the program and screening will begin at 6:30. It all is happening at Springboard for the Arts, which is 262 University West in St. Paul. And all information is right on our website, brownbody.org/events. So definitely join us. It's going to be a really beautiful evening. And yeah, it'll be fun. Thank you so much for reminding me, honestly, to talk about the event.
The event, they can also donate to support your work. How does that happen?
Yes, right on that website, right on that webpage, brownbody.org/events. There's also a link to make a donation. If you are unable to attend, you can also RSVP at that link. We also have created, this is new, a donor circle. So if you're interested in supporting at different substantive levels, we have perks, gifts, shall we say, that will be available to you at the event. So definitely check it out. There is our flyer. At the bottom, QR code takes you right to brownbody.org/events. And again, it's this Thursday, 5:30 cocktail hour, 6:30 program. Yeah, please do join us.
Performance videos or show videos on your website?
Yes. So right on our homepage. I'm so sorry. Yep.
The website. Show, share an idea of what you're describing. Best to see it, right?
Yes. Yeah. It is difficult to describe. It is when people hear Blackness in combination with dance, in combination with theater, in combination with figure skating. Oftentimes, it's really difficult to kind of envision that. And so we do have video right on our homepage, brownbody.org, and we have the trailer for the artistic work that we'll be screening on Thursday.
Maybe we can share the trailer. But let's go back to the motion word. I think naming your project Brownbody is significant. What and why? What did it mean and why did you do it? And I mean, you in a sense are elevating awareness and destroying the external intent to denigrate our personhood because of our skin color. And you are standing at the mountaintop shouting about the beauty that we reflect, reveal that we are in the name alone. And then you do it again and again through the work. talk about Brownbody, where the name, how that visited, grabbed your attention, and ended up evolving into the signature of the work that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's such, oh, I love talking about the name. So Brownbody, the name really came to affirm exactly what you were saying. Our bodies, for century, and I know pretty much everybody that's probably tuned in today knows our history. They know the chronic subjugation, diminishment, disenfranchisement of brown bodies, of Black people and Black culture and Black civilization. So just naming the organization Brownbody. And I also wanted to push back a little bit. You know, my skin is brown. Most of the Black folk that I know, they would characterize themselves as their skin being brown. And so I'm not, of course, the concept of a brown person and a brown body and Blackness, I don't think those are mutually exclusive. I definitely don't, I definitely embrace identifying as a Black person, identifying as a brown person, but I just want to raise up our bodies. We need to celebrate them. We need to affirm them. We need to love them because our history and our present day continues to disenfranchise, continues to diminish, continues to try and compartmentalize and narrow our physical existence. And so we are beautiful brown bodies doing really in the artistic work in our donation-based Learn to Skate, really creating space for that beauty, really creating space for that affirmation. And so we need to love and embrace who we are, physical selves, emotional selves, spiritual selves, and hence brown body. Yeah.
Brilliant. Introduce Karyn Wilson, if you would. Let's expand the conversation. Karyn, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
Well, thank you for being here. And I'm going to ask Deneane, I apologize for messing with your name at the beginning, but thank you. This is informal, and we keep creating and inventing and correcting, course correcting as we go. So thank you for the grace of me correcting my mistake in pronouncing your name the first time. Thank you so much for being here. So let me have you introduce Karyn. Talk about her and how she is part of your team, your business.
Yeah, Deneane, do you want to introduce me?
Yeah, definitely. I'm so sorry. I'm having a tiny bit of time. I think there's a delay or something, but anyways, yes. Karyn, so we piloted our donation-based Learn to Skate program back in 2017. We had two kind of trial lessons, and the response was enormous. There was such a strong desire from the communities that we are a part of to create space for Black and brown kids through adults. We've had some grandparents on the ice as well, to actually get on the ice and to really take space in this traditionally overwhelmingly white space of skating. And so we piloted these lessons, realized there was such a strong need. And then we were very fortunate to receive support from the Knight Foundation to actually launch our Learn to Skate program. And it just grew. And it grew to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much work. I can't do it all on my own. And so really, really fortunate to engage and to meet, number one, Karyn Wilson, and engage Karyn. And we stole her from DC. So there was I'll let Karyn talk about the program in DC, but we were very fortunate to pull her to the Minnesota from DC to become our Learn to Skate director. So Karyn, definitely, please do feel free to share anything you'd like to share.
Yeah, of course. As Deneane mentioned, I started working for Brownbody about 2 years ago, working on the Learn to Skate program. And right now, our program, we run it twice a year here in the Twin Cities, mainly in St. Paul, and it's been growing. there's a huge demand for skating lessons in the Twin Cities. Of course, skating is a big part of the culture here, but a lot of people don't learn how to skate, especially not a lot of brown and black children, because it can be a really expensive sport and something that's really hard to get into if you don't know other people doing it. So for us at Brownbody, it's really important to create the space for new people, especially Black and Brown people, to learn how to skate. So all of our lessons at this point are donation based. There's no fee associated with it if you aren't able. And we have skates available for our participants, as well as helmets and gloves and any other supplies that you might need to help you get on the ice. And then we're really fortunate to work with a great group of Black and Brown instructors who teach along with Deneane and myself. And we really just try to create a really fun learning environment, but also an environment that just shows us that we belong on the ice too, and that, it's something that we all can do. My favorite part of teaching is just seeing a kid. I work mostly with kids, even though we do have adults in our program as well. A kid who will come on the first day and feel like they're so scared, they don't think they can do it. And then by the end of the 8-week program, they're just like, I never want to get off the ice.
Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I'm muted. I'm sorry. I'm muted. Okay. Now, looks like Miss Al is having some technical difficulties. So I'm back and I'm going to step in and finish the interview. Thank you so much, Deneane. Thank you so much, Karyn, for joining us. We really are happy to have you on. So why don't we start with this? Why don't you tell us about what do you feel like are the most significant successes and challenges Brownbody has experienced, it has faced, and in carving out a space for Black and Brown communities?
Yeah. I'm just going to jump in because I really love what Karyn mentioned about, seeing that child on the first day and they're nervous. They might be clinging to their parent, grandparent, guardian, whoever, brought them. And just, you can see in their faces and just their physicality and their energy that being in this space, there's an intimidating enormity of even just being in the space of the ice arena. And then, as Karyn mentioned, we really try to create a very warm and nourishing experience. Yes, the students are going to learn skating skills, but equally important, each instructor works really hard to affirm their humanity. And it's so powerful to see the kids just, thrive and blossom from that very first day of being intimidated sometimes to oftentimes by the end of the session, we have a hard time getting kids off of the ice. So by the time our ice time is over, and Karyn, I know you can tell some stories, just rallying everybody, and saying that unfortunately, we have to get off the ice. So it's just that journey, I think, is a huge, huge success of the program.
Yeah, and I'd also just add that I think, the big success I think I see with Brownbody is the community that we've been able to build over the years since before I even started, and creating a base of people who are really interested in coming back to our shows and our classes and being involved as much as they can.
That's amazing. So you know what? It just leads me to kind of think about like, what are your origin stories, right? You guys have both obviously started in skating and thought that this was something that was an important part of your life. And now you're implementing and basically nurturing future generations of ice skaters who knows where they're going to be and what they're going to do with that, right? So why don't you share with us? And I'm going to start with Karyn because Deneane has been there, right? So let's start with Karyn, and then I want to hear from you, Deneane, as well. What is your origin story? How did you start into and got into ice skating, and and then letting into now Brownbodies?
Yeah, that's a really great question. As Deneane mentioned, I'm actually from Washington, D.C., and I learned how to skate there at a rink that was the only nonprofit rink in the whole country. So they, similar to Brownbody, had very accessible classes that had either free or low prices, and they gave me free skates, and they had free instruction, and they taught me how to skate. And I felt like it was such a unique skill that I didn't really know a lot of other people doing. So I wanted to keep going. And as I learned more and more about it, more opportunities started opening up to me. And I actually went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I skated on their skating teams for a couple of years. And when I graduated, I went back to DC and I started teaching the lessons at my home rink in DC. And so that's how I started teaching skating. And I've always kept my love for skating and also just my love for teaching other people how to skate. And so moving here to work with Deneane at Brownbody was such a perfect fit to everything I was already doing.
Wow, that's like an amazing and powerful story. Deneane, why don't you share with us what your origin story is?
Yeah, well, my origin story starts with being, I guess, an overzealous, energetic, enthusiastic toddler and 5-year-old, to the point where my parents were like, "Oh my gosh, we need to put her in some kind of activity so she can burn off this energy." So I remember they had me try a bunch of different sports and activities. I did not take to anything that involved a ball. Apparently they had me on a t-ball team, and I was bored to tears and picking dandelions out in the field. I don't know. But when they put me into a dance class and a learn to skate class, similar to the learn to skate lessons that Brownbody offers, those clicked. And very similar to the kids now, like I did not want to get off the ice. And I really loved that the sensation of feeling like I was flying or floating across the ice. And so I just, started skating, and I was continuing to dance. And as I continued to progress in skating, dance kind of turned into a endeavor that complemented my skating training, because I was beginning to compete and to kind of advance through the levels and skate at different rinks in different areas. Through that journey, I was able to train in different parts of the country. I was able to spend a few summers at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and was able to compete all over the country. So it was definitely an experience. But I want to touch on, you asked the question earlier about challenges, and I definitely wanted to touch on, skating and competing and training and doing all of these things. For me, it was in the 80s and 90s, where I was one of maybe a small handful of Black skaters. There was definitely messaging, at times very explicit messaging, and some subversive messaging, basically telling me that I did not belong, or that, okay, we'll tolerate you, but we're still going to judge and critique and make comments about your body shape or your hair. Or I remember at one point, it was suggested that I not, for my competition dresses, that I not choose something that was really brightly colored because of my dark skin, and it would make my dark skin more pronounced. And I mean, the list goes on and on. For the few of us that were actually, skating and competing and so forth, it really hurt. It hurt to see if I wasn't experiencing that level of bias, I would see that being exacted on, other Black skaters. And that sent a very clear message to me as a child that, I was not welcome here. So I always felt like I was skating against the tide, and I had to continue to reconnect to why I loved skating and continue to reconnect to that. When I was a 5-year-old girl feeling, like I was flying across the ice, and continue to stay rooted in the passion of skating, so that I did not let all the noise, all the racism, all the toxicity kind of permeate. So yeah, my origin story. That's definitely it.
Well, that's amazing, and it kind of makes me start thinking, right? Because I mean, ice skating, the discrimination and that type of feeling in ice skating is similar to what's going on in gymnastics and
Yeah.
possibly even what's going on in hockey and basically all the hot sports that we tend not to dominate or be in. So it's actually, I have two questions, but one of the things that I think is more important I want to ask is, so how do you sit there and how do you bolster up in your program, young children and kids and women who are coming up in ice skating who say, what, I want to compete on a professional level. I want to be in that space. What are the things that you do? I mean, aside from just creating this organization, right, to support us, what are the things that you do to kind of reinforce that they should be in this space and they do belong, and and kind of have, and it's sad that we have to insulate ourselves, but what are the things that you do to help us?
Yeah. I'm just going to say a few things, and I'll definitely give the floor
Here.
to Karyn, because I know, I'm sorry, Karyn, just
No.
be quiet. So we are really more focused right now on, and it's really due to capacity. Running a nonprofit is not easy, but we're focused primarily on like those beginning kind of learn to skate stages. So we don't have a program per se to kind of bridge the gap between that learn to skate moment and I'm a competitive figure skater type space. But what we do in the Learn to Skate program, and you really kind of hit the nail on the head, is that really creating this kind of insulated space in the world of the ice. And one of the ways that we do that is through, as Karyn mentioned, representation. So we are very intentional and deliberate about making sure that we have a really wonderful group of Black and Brown instructors, because that just the presence of Black and Brown instructors does send the message that, okay, you do belong here, you belong in this space, and you can progress through the levels and be whatever kind of skater you want to be. And that's okay. And that's more than okay. That's wonderful. So that's the one major thing. And Karyn, I don't know if you have additional thoughts, or otherwise I'll keep talking.
Oh, no, of course. I think for us, we're really focused on creating support systems for any skater who would like to progress. As Deneane mentioned, right now, our program is really just teaching the basic skills, and we're not training any skaters at a high level currently. But for me, I really believe in creating support systems and also offering just knowledge. I really believe that if you don't know someone doing something that you might be interested in doing, you can't really know what to expect. And that can be really scary to not know what you're stepping into. So in addition to just teaching skating skills, it's important for us to just share the knowledge that we have as people who have competed or who have done different types of skating. Deneane, myself, and the rest of our instructors, we try to make time for us to be able to just share our stories as Black skaters and the things that we've gone through, so that our participants can learn what's out there and what's possible, and they can decide for themselves what they might want to do in the future, but know that whatever they decide, they have us as a support system, so that they have people to lean on. It can be hard, especially in a sport like skating, where a lot of the opportunities involve competing on your own. The support system can be small if you don't know a lot of people in that world. So we really want to create a program that can be, a place where people can come back and get the support for what they want to do, and know that they have people who understand what they're trying to do and understand who they are, and be able to help them through the process.
Yeah. And
I
can I,
was I just have to say this really quick, and I was so excited. Again, I think we talked about this offline. Like, I was really excited to learn about the organization and just have you guys like share. So I just had to say that. And before I do that, let me actually make another. We have a comment from one of our viewers, Michelle Madison, who's been a supporter like forever. Thank you, Michelle. We definitely appreciate it. She said, "I learned to ice skate as a toddler in Germany. Now I look forward to seeing my grandchildren, 8 years old and younger, enjoy ice skating." Yeah, I totally agree with Michelle. I did ice skating when I was growing up. Learned how to do the back, whatever. I don't even know what do you call it? Like, I don't know,
Black
the back skate. That's it. That's all I know.
figure.
If I do it now, I'll probably like will fall and just be in trouble. Anyway, Deneane, continue. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on or piggyback on what Karyn was saying, and
Mhm.
that creation of community is so key.
Yes.
And although we don't have a program kind of bridging the learn to skate moment to the I'm a competitive skater moment, we're really trying to blend the importance of the artistic work that we do as we do engage professional Black skating artists in the artistic work with this creation of a community. So we've actually created an apprentice program, and it's really for those Black skaters that do have a competitive skating practice, that are at maybe some of the more advanced levels and that are competing or what have you, to come together, because again, they're all at their rinks training kind of in these silos, and frequently I'm very they pretty much are alone as Black people in these spaces. So bringing everybody together, doing some creative movement exploration on the ice, learning some of the actual brown body some of the brown body repertory, and just really having that community, the experience of being in community, so that they are kind of recharged and re-nourished to go back into their siloed kind of
Right.
training spaces, and just to know that there's a community here, as Karyn was saying, and that there are times when I would get like text messages and so forth from folks like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this thing happened, while I was practicing today," or that.
Right.
And I know I didn't have that. I didn't have anybody that I could reach out to and just kind of like, "Oh, this thing that felt really crazy just happened. Is
Mhm.
it me, or is it just the craziness in the
Right.
environment that I'm in?" So really being able to create that community.
Right. That's I mean, like I said, I'm totally enjoying this conversation. So let me ask you, as for Karyn, as a learn to skate director, which I'm not in the space, so I'm not familiar with that. Why don't you tell us, like, what does that look like, and what does that role look like within Brown Body?
Yeah, for sure. So for me, the role entails, I mean, a lot of the administrative work that you might expect from most jobs. It's making sure that all of our students are in the correct classes and organizing the classes and putting together the schedule, but also making sure our instructors have all the support that they need to teach their classes. And then when we're teaching the classes, I try to make sure that I'm talking to parents and getting to know everyone on some levels, that people know who I am, and make sure that everybody is enjoying their experience and taking feedback, and then making sure that that's getting back to our instructors. And really just making sure that the program is running as smoothly as it can as a whole. We also have a lot of volunteers who help us during our skating sessions. So I make sure that we have volunteers, that the volunteers know what they're doing, and that everybody is, at the end of the day, able to have a really good experience.
That sounds amazing. So let me actually I'm trying to actually find this video. Apparently you guys
Oh,
have a promotion video on. So let's see if we can actually find it. And I'm going to pull it up. So
yeah.
guys have to bear with me, because normally I'm on the production side. So I'm playing host and producer at the same time right now. So let's see if we can actually get this video up for us so everyone can see it. And then as you're doing that, can you just remind us again, our viewers, when the event is and how they can go and learn more and get tickets?
Definitely. Yeah. So the event, we are doing a screening of our latest artistic work called Tracing Sacred Steps combo fundraiser this Thursday, June 29th. All the information and to RSVP is right on our website at brownbody.org/events. We will have a cocktail hour from 5:30 to 6:30, and then we'll start the program and the screening at 6:30. In addition, of course, to the screening and the program, and there will be food and all sorts of things. We will have a wonderful silent auction. We also will have a 50-50 cash drawing. The artists, the instructors, board folks will be there, so you can just chat and learn more about the organization. And I do have to say that we've been going around trying to get support and support in the form of silent auction donations and food donations and catering donations, and really the community has and continues to step up, and so I want to just take a moment to say thank you.
Yes, definitely. So don't forget, you guys have to come and support Brown Bodies. They're having an amazing event on Thursday. I'm just reiterating it because we have to say it again and again so that people support, right? So I actually was able to pull up the video. So let's actually see if we can play it.
Oh, you're muted again, Yasmin.
I'm muted. See, this is what happens when you're doing both. That was absolutely beautiful. I'm really excited, and I'm hoping you guys have an amazing turnout for the event. So we actually have a couple of questions in the chat, so I want to share questions and a comment. So I'm going to do the comment first, and then we're going to go into the question. So Gamel says, "Kudos to Brown Body for being a gem in our community." I definitely agree. And then we have Bosch Body who says, "What's your favorite competition jump combos?" Ooh, he sounds like a skater.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to
And I'm
take
so
that?
sorry. What was the name of the last? I'm like, I know I'm in contact with you. Anyways, my my favorite jump combo, although jumps, I love to jump, but in competition, I had such horrible stage fright. It was just a lot. But my favorite combo. So I remember at one point I had a pretty, it was off and on. When it was on, I really enjoyed it. Double axle, double toe.
Okay.
I had just right before I injured my knee, I had just started to um, uh, get my body under control for triple sal, and when I landed, when it was good, that felt great. That was fun. But yeah, double axle, double toe, I think is what I'd have to say.
And Karyn, what about you?
Yeah, for me, I don't know if I have a favorite jump combo, but my favorite jump is the loop jump. It was always one of my favorites to do. When I was skating, I never got to the doubles level, but yeah, just a single loop was one of my favorites, and I also really enjoy spinning. Yeah.
So one of the, like I said, you're talking about your event. You're here to really promote that and elevate, create awareness for it. So and let's kind of reiterate, like, what are some of the spaces or how would you use the funds? Like, what are you going to be using to kind of grow and expand Brown Body?
Yeah,
That's a great question.
Yeah, great question. I think for sure we are looking to support all the programs that we do at Brownbody, one being the Learn to Skate program and the apprentice program, as well as the artistic programs that we run. I know for the Learn to Skate program specifically, we're really looking to grow the program. As I said, we provide skates and helmets and other supplies for our participants, and we're really looking to purchase even more skates for our students to use. A lot of rinks here in Minnesota actually don't have rental skates available, and that's something that we really rely on because a lot of our participants don't have their own skates. So we want to be able to provide those free rental skates for our participants, but not all rinks have those. So we're looking to build up our own supply of skates that we can give out to our participants during the lessons to use, so they don't have to worry about having skates. That's a question we always get from people when they're thinking about signing up. They're like, oh, do I have to have my own skates? And it makes us feel so good to be able to say, no, you don't need your own skates. We'll have them for you. So we want to make sure that we can do that no matter what rink we skate at.
You guys are really, really removing barriers that really are looking or could potentially prevent people or young people who want to get into the space. So definitely kudos to you. Deneane, you just actually shared with me a video. And do you want to introduce it and then we can actually view it?
Yeah, that would be great. So we presented Tracing Sacred Steps, our most recent evening length on ice work last summer. And we were very fortunate to be able to work with an amazing film artist where we, did the performance, and then the following week we filmed it. And we work with this film artist. His name is Aiden Unn, on really exploring how the cinematography, how the lens is situated, how that can continue to tell the narrative that the artistic work itself tells. So this is a short trailer of that film, and will be, when we do the screening on June 29th, this Thursday, you'll see the full film.
Oh, great. Okay, so I'm going to play it and then we can comment about it after. That was absolutely beautiful. That was beautiful. I don't remember if you mentioned it, but again, like, what was the inspiration behind, like, tracing steps is, we understand the connection between wanting, to elevate, the awareness, right? But for that particular segment and that particular promo, what was the inspiration, the deeper inspiration behind that?
Yeah. So Tracing Sacred Steps is really about spirit and ancestors, and knowing that spirit, even though we may not be able to touch and see, and our ancestors like in front of our face, but the energy of their spirit is all around us all of the time. And the piece opens with a section that we call haunting, and I really wanted to play with the idea of oftentimes when we think of like, oh, haunted house, scary, scary, scary. Well, the air may be quote unquote pregnant with these spiritual energies, but it's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily have to be this horrible, scary thing. And I wanted to play with the idea of how do we just live and exist in this very full energy.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like I froze. I'm not
It's
sure.
okay. We can hear you perfectly
Okay,
fine, so we're going
great.
to continue.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Um, yeah, and the piece culminates in a section called Sanctuary, where we actually do a ring shout at the end on the ice, which is something I'm still researching and still exploring. But I was really interested in, one of the core tenets of ring shout is the movement in the counterclockwise direction and repetition and repetition to the point where we are spinning ourselves into a spiritual vortex and connecting with ancestors. So I really wanted to bring that practice to the ice. And so the Tracing Sacred Steps is really about that journey. And that section that we just saw, those moments in the trailer, really kind of represent that journey, because that journey can be very healing. It can be sanctuary. It can be, it's really about, let's bring all the complexities and nuance of who we are in this moment as Black people to the work, and what kind of processing, what kind of nourishment do we need? And it's different for everybody, and it's never linear. Very rarely is it linear. It's complicated. All right.
Yeah, so I have no idea what's going. I think our ancestors are telling us, you know what, we may not be shouting loud enough. We may not be doing something. We're missing something, because they are totally messing with us on our system today. But that's totally fine. So Karyn, why don't you tell us? I mean, Deneane just really lovely, like just really eloquently expressed the ideas of ancestry and role in what in our space, right, and what we're doing. Can you share with us, like, how ancestors helped guided you through this journey of ice skating and leading you to your work that you're doing with Brownbody, and just in general?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, even though ice skating is, not something that, we traditionally have done, I definitely think that throughout my life, ice skating has played such an important part into who I am and the things that have been important to me. And it has been something that has allowed me to really feel like I can fully express myself, which is something that I really love about ice skating and really love passing on to my students. And something that I really love about Brownbody and what drew me to the organization is that Deneane is really showing us how we can use ice skating as not just a sport or just a skill, but also as an artistic medium to tell our stories, which is just something that I don't think anyone else is really doing, because it is such a beautiful medium. And as Deneane, mentioned, like flying across the ice, and it can really make for a lot of beautiful visual experiences that we can't do in any other artistic medium. And something that I don't think we've mentioned yet is that when we do the live shows, we actually have our audience sitting on the ice. We put chairs out on the ice so that there's no like barrier to being able to see the skaters, just like a real stage. Like people are really seeing the skates and hearing the skaters on the ice, and it creates such a full, rich sensory experience to see and hear and feel the coldness of the ice and really get to experience this medium fully. And it's just such an amazing experience. And I hope everybody who's watching gets to see the show live someday. But in the meantime, you can experience a version of it on Thursday with the film that we created of our work. And as you saw from the trailer, it's not just a film of the show. Aiden really took the show and created a cinematic experience out of it. So I think it's going to be just such a great experience to be with our whole community, to see that film be premiered and get to experience, this story that we're telling.
Wow, that's great. I, you know, there's a message that we're looking to hear, right? So let's kind of see. Alvina said, I love watching you guys spin. It's amazing how you come out of the spins as if you didn't spin at all. Yeah, I totally agree. It's an art form, right? Like it's a work of art. So it looks like Deneane was having issues. So we are going to, you and I, Karyn, are going to like maybe hang out for 30 seconds and do me a favor really quick. Reiterate and share again the event that's on Thursday. And then you can say your final words and then we're going to close out.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, this Thursday is our Tracing Sacred Steps cinematic premiere and fundraiser at Springboard for the Arts in St. Paul. 5:30 will be the cocktail hour, and then 6:30 we'll start the program, which will include some speakers from all across our organization and the premiere of the film. And we'll also have a silent auction and a cash drawing and some food. So it's going to be a really fun experience. You can get your tickets on our website, brownbody.org/events. And as Deneane mentioned, we also have a donor circle if you would like some extra perks during the event. But this is just going to be a really fun event, and we hope to see you there. You're muted again.
Of course I am. Do you have any last words or anything that you would want to leave with our viewers?
Yeah, I'll just say that, Brownbody is doing some really unique and amazing work here in the Twin Cities. And if you are able to connect with us in any way, we'd really appreciate the support. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Moving Brownbody. Sign up for our newsletter on our website, brownbody.org. You can also find the link to donate to us as well. And you'll hear about all our upcoming shows and classes, and we'd really love to connect with you. As I said, we're building a community here in the Twin Cities, and everyone's invited to join.
Well, thank you again, Karyn, who is the Learn to Skate Director of Brownbodies. We really appreciate having you on. This is Yasmin. I am the host today for the conversation with Al McFarlane. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you tomorrow. Actually, before we head out, tomorrow will actually be a rebroadcast, but we will be returning on Wednesday to bring you some great conversations from Al McFarlane. Thank you. Have a great day.